That's so nice.
Woohoo! Go doctor! Go doctor! Go doctor! If I had to guess which character has been in the largest number of video games, I would have to go Mario. What hasn't this guy done? He's a plumber, adventurer, racer, athlete, artist, time traveler, referee, dancer, construction worker, demolitionist, cement factory worker, baker, and typing teacher. This guy has more jobs than Barbie. Mario and his world are so recognizable, vast, and flexible, you can put him in just about any situation and it will seem natural. From tennis to sweaters, Mario is a jack of all trades. What I find to be one of his most interesting odd jobs is his work in the medical field. The Dr. Mario series changed our plumber from unclogging pipes to unclogging arteries. The Dr. Mario series is a series of color matching puzzle games published by no one other than Nintendo. Originally produced by Gunpei Yokoi, creator of the Game Boy, Game & Watch, and Virtual Boy, designed by Takahiro Harada, producer of the Metroid series, with the iconic music composed by Hirokazu Tanaka, the series remains one of the most popular Mario spin-offs. Most people think of the series as nothing but the NES game, but this series spans multiple titles through many consoles. For a series so recognizable, you don't hear much discussion on which games are better than the others. Well, I'm here to provide a cure to that problem. Let's do a checkup on these games. Let's begin with Dr. Mario's first and most famous game, the NES original. Well, it released the same day as the Game Boy version, so the Game Boy version is also first, but whatever, we're starting with the NES version. Releasing late into the system's life, Dr. Mario came out October 1990 here in America. The gameplay of Dr. Mario revolves around getting rid of all these viruses in this big jar. Dr. Mario throws pills with colors on each half, red, yellow, and blue. These colors match that of the viruses. Lining up 4 pills or viruses of the same color, either vertically or horizontally, will clear that row. My indigestion is flaring up really bad again. What color would you say it is? The colors of the pills Mario throws are random, which adds a lot of intensity. There have been countless times I've needed one specific color only to get 10 of the other color in a row. Pills fall lower as the time goes on, similarly to Tetris, so you must act fast. Also similar to Tetris, you can spin the pills 90 degrees, either clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on which button you press. If any pills are being supported by ones that get cleared, they will fall until they either hit the floor or another pill or virus. Make sure your tower of pills doesn't cover the opening of the jar, because if you clog it, well then prepare to tell the patient's family the bad news. Clearing all the viruses means you win. The single player mode has plenty of levels to work your way through. You pick a starting level with the higher the number equaling the more viruses in the level. Levels are randomly generated, they all just start with the required number of viruses. This way you can start off with easy levels or just skip to the challenge. After beating enough levels on the medium or high difficulty, you see a cutscene with the 3 viruses sitting in a tree. The difficulty I was talking about is just the speed that the pills fall out. But the higher the difficulty, the faster they fall. You can also pick the music, fever, chills, or no music. I like the option of not playing music because this is a great game for playing while listening to a podcast or something. Now the versus mode is where the real fun comes in. You and another player go head to head to see who can clear all the viruses first. If you fail to clear all your viruses before your opponent clears theirs, or if you clog up your pill jar, you lose. The first to win 3 rounds wins that game. There is a new feature to add to the competitiveness. If you manage to clear 2 or more rows with a single pill drop, it will shoot out pill chunks on a random part of your opponent's screen. This can tip the tides dramatically on who wins, often falling on the worst possible spot. The number of rows you clear is how many pill chunks you send to your opponent. This versus mode is a majority of what I play in this game. Me and my mom can get very competitive playing this. One thing I don't think this game gets enough credit for is its presentation. This is one of the most colorful games on the system. The primary colored pills against the pitch black jar with a checkerboard pattern in the background. Mwah. They really take advantage of the spare space and fill it up with so many fun details. Information about the level and your score are displayed in clipboards to match the doctor theming. Mario and his scrubs is shown throwing pills in the corner. This detail also helps because it shows what color the next pill will be. Who could forget that puffy yellow Dr. Mario logo, trademarked of course. But if Dr. Mario is known for anything, it's the game's music. They perfectly captured the cartoony chaos of sorting the pills into the right spots. Dr. Mario's design is great, but not as great as the designs of the viruses. With how cool these guys look, I'm surprised they made them look so much creepier on the cover. I mean, the cover designs look fine, but the in-game ones are way better. They look like if germs were Mario enemies. They didn't even just use these gremlin designs on this box, they were used on quite a few game boxes and even the cover of Nintendo Power. On the topic of Nintendo Power, they really rolled out the red carpet for this one in a way that makes my heart so full. Look at this! Big colorful drawings of Mario, this delightful header, tons of clipboards and medical terminology, and legitimately helpful tips. This is how I learned you turn the pills clockwise or counterclockwise depending on which button you press. This game is so fun, even Mario and Luigi are playing it together. Oddly, judging by their expressions, Luigi seems to be a better player. Maybe he should become a doctor someday. And come on, you gotta love the cover. I adore whenever Nintendo Power would make clay models for their covers, and this might be the best one. The fogginess of the liquid, the real-life pills, the fact Mario needs to stand on a ladder to reach the jar, all come together to make an excellent work of art. The spotlight the game got makes this my favorite issue. But that's mainly because of the mention of the Scrap Mother 1 American release. The sheer amount of effort Nintendo Power put into giving games the bells and whistles it needed to stick out is my favorite part of the magazine, and no game better represents this. I think it's clear I recommend it. It's a must-play if you're a fan of puzzle games, the NES, or Mario's history. This NES version is very accessible, being on the GBA, Play Choice 10, Wii, Wii U, 3DS, Switch, NES Classic, and the Nintendo Puzzle Collection via the GBA link cable. An original cartridge is also pretty cheap, with the average price being around $10. Even a complete in-box copy isn't too bad, with the average price being between $25 and $50. It's great for people playing by themselves or with friends, people looking for a challenge, or to relax, and people looking to complete every level or just soak up the style. A must-have NES classic through and through. Releasing that same day was the Game Boy version. A lot of puzzle games for the NES would get a Game Boy version with games like Tetris, Yoshi, and Yoshi's Cookie. But wait, Dr. Mario's about matching colors, but the Game Boy can only display 4 colors. How does this version work? Well, instead of red, yellow, and blue, the viruses are colored black, white, and checkerboard. Other than that, it's basically the same thing. Stuff like the music and graphics are stripped down to fit on the Game Boy, but they make it work. I think this is why you don't hear a lot of discussion about the series as a whole. Once you've played one Dr. Mario game, you've pretty much played them all. There are fun things that make each and every game unique and fun to discuss, but if you're looking for wildly different gameplay, don't hold your breath. Anyway, back to the Game Boy version. Despite living in the shadow of its NES sister, the Game Boy version actually sold better. It was also one of the first games to be on the Nintendo Music app. Tetris and Dr. Mario proved to be the kings of the puzzle genre on the NES and Game Boy, so it just made sense to bring them to the Super Nintendo. Tetris and Dr. Mario is a remake of both NES games on a single Super Nintendo cartridge. While the gameplay modes and levels are the same, the graphics and music are made to take advantage of the 16-bit system. Just look at that magnifying glass. There is one thing unique with this version, that being the multiplayer mode Mix Match. In this mode, you switch between playing Dr. Mario and Tetris, similar to Puyo Puyo Tetris. This is a good way to even the fight if you're better at Tetris but your friend is better at Dr. Mario. While this game was released in America and Europe, the game never came out in Japan due to licensing issues with Tetris over there. Luckily, if you're living in Japan, you could play the Dr. Mario half of the game via the Satellaview with BS Dr. Mario. Yeah, funny name. Which, fun fact, was the last Satellaview game to ever be broadcasted. 7 years later, Dr. Mario had his biggest game yet with Dr. Mario 64 releasing April 9th, 2001 in America. The NES, Game Boy, and Super Nintendo games were all basically the same thing, but this is a completely new title. The game features the classic and versus modes you know and love, but with even more new modes. Versus mode can now be played with up to 4 players or even by yourself against a computer. Flash mode involves a race to see who can clear 3 specific viruses. Marathon mode consists of a level that will continue to move upward, revealing more and more viruses. The most interesting mode is the brand new story mode. It's basically just a series of levels with cutscenes in the middle. The story is about Dr. Mario going around healing everyone when Wario catches him healing an octopus. Wario learns of the powers of the pills and plans to steal them and sell them. Let me say that again. The plot of this Mario game is Wario illegally hoarding a necessary medicine and upcharging the public as much as he can. No wonder Wario hates Luigi. But before Wario can get his hands on the pills, a mad scientist steals them, and the plot is just one long chase to get the pills back. You'll bump into various creatures to battle, most of which from Wario Land 3 of all games. All your favorite characters are here. Lump, Jelly Bob, Appleby, Helio, and of course, Ruby. The presentation is again fantastic. The cutscenes and title screen have characters that look like cardboard and paper, like Paper Mario, which came out months prior. Even when they don't look like cardboard, they have some of the best animated sprites on the system. The characters move so fluidly and have great expressions for whether they win or lose. This game knew it was pretty because it even lets you pick a background when you play. The music is also delightful. The Tetris and Dr. Mario music was good, but it used some like weird samples, so getting a more traditional redone version of the music is nice. This game is probably the content-richest game in the series. If you're looking for variety specifically, this is the game I would recommend. A loose cartridge is only $30, and if that's too much, you could always play it via NSO. Also, only Americans were fortunate enough to get a cartridge. Europe didn't get the game for 20 years until it was eventually re-released on NSO. Japan didn't get the game until 2003 with the Nintendo Puzzle Collection on the GameCube. The game was a compilation of Panel de Pon, Yoshi's Cookie, and Dr. Mario. While Yoshi's Cookie was a brand new game, and the Panel de Pon was a reskin of Pokemon Puzzle League, the Dr. Mario game was, to my research, the same as Dr. Mario 64. If I had to guess why it only came out as a cartridge in America, is because it's a late release. 2001 was late for an N64 game, and this was the last Nintendo published N64 game here in America. On the topic of 2001, Super Smash Bros. Melee was released. Melee had an incredibly rushed development, so many of the new fighters were built off the bones of other characters. Link's moveset was reused for Young Link. Many of the moves from Pikachu and Fox were reused on Pichu and Falco, respectively. When picking a character to be a clone of Mario, Sakurai remembered the music of the Dr. Mario series, so they eventually landed on, of course, Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario plays extremely like Mario, with some very slight differences. The biggest difference is that instead of fireballs, Dr. Mario throws pills. I wish he was a little more unique, especially since he's the only puzzle game character in the series, but with that being said, he is one of my most played characters in Melee, so who am I to talk? Also, they changed his white pants to black. It doesn't bother me or anything, just nobody ever mentions this. He skipped Brawl, but returned for Wii U, 3DS, and Ultimate. Dr. Mario actually made quite the splash on the Game Boy Advance, and it started in quite a surprising place. WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games had an unlockable Dr. Mario game titled Dr. Wario. It's basically just a reskin of the NES game with a few minor changes, mainly the removal of the multiplayer. I'm not really sure if this counts as an actual Dr. Mario game. It's more so just a joke minigame, but even if it was just an afterthought, it could give you your Dr. Mario fix. If you wanted a proper version of the NES Dr. Mario on your GBA, then that version was part of the classic NES series. I've gone on record saying I don't really care for these classic NES series games, but Dr. Mario holds up pretty well despite its limitations. But that's not it. We got a completely brand new game in the series on this handheld. Dr. Mario and Puzzle League is a bundle of the two games. Puzzle League, also known as Tetris Attack and Panel de Pon, is a fantastic puzzle game, maybe even better than Dr. Mario, but hey, we're not here for that. The Dr. Mario in this package is basically just a stripped-down version of Dr. Mario 64. The sprites, animation, music, and modes are nearly identical, but things like the 4-player versus mode and story mode are removed. Also, due to the weird aspect ratio of the handheld, this version's viruses per jar is different from the rest of the series. Unfortunately, Dr. Mario and Puzzle League was the last game in the series to get a physical release. If I had to guess why, it's probably hard to cram enough content into a simple puzzle game like this to get your money's worth. But with the introduction of digital games, puzzle games migrated there. Since you don't have to worry about the cost of manufacturing discs or cartridges, you could be much more frugal with your pricing. While I would obviously prefer more physical games, I can't deny this move to digital makes sense. Just hope none of these games become lost media. More on that later. The Wii Shop channel introduced bite-sized downloadable games via the WiiWare service, and one of the titans of the WiiWare was Dr. Mario Online RX. I guess the title WebMD was taken. This was made by Akira of Endless Ocean fame. The series finally returned to consoles, and for only a cheap $10. The game features a lot of the modes that would become mainstays in the series, like Classic, Versus CPU, and Flash. Versus mode now features your Miis and can even be played online. A brand new mode is here in the form of Virus Buster. Well, not quite new, actually. There was a mini-game in Brain Age 2 that was a simplified version of Dr. Mario that used the touchscreen to move the pills. That mini-game was brought to the official Dr. Mario series, now with the Wii pointer controls, and is a neat addition. My favorite new addition is that if you press up on the D-pad, the pill will instantly shoot to its destination, like a modern Tetris game. The graphics and music are very nice and clean. While it's not as colorful as previous titles, the white and light blues sell the whole doctor's office look. Unfortunately, with the closure of the Wii Shop channel, channel, unless you already had it downloaded, there's no official way to play it. No official way to play it. The DSi model of DS introduced a digital storefront of its own with its own equivalent to the WiiWare, DSiWare. I think you know where I'm going with this. For a crisp $5, you could download the, at the time, latest game in the Dr. Mario series, Dr. Mario Express. Express was a subtitle given to a lot of DSiWare games, often ones that were just fractions of games or demos for full-fledged DS games. But Dr. Mario Express is not a demo and is a real deal game. Even if the title is misleading, I love the title. It's like a Pizza Hut. In Europe, instead of Express, these titles are called A Little Bit of Dr. Mario. Also has a nice ring to it. Enough gawking at the titles though, how's the game? It's essentially just a stripped down version of Online RX. Okay, the title makes sense now. The graphics and music are nearly identical, but the number of modes is severely reduced. Only classic and versus CPU mode. Dang, not even a flash mode? Yeah, this game is very low on content because the DSi shop games had to be very tiny to be downloadable. I wasn't able to play this game myself, so I can't say whether you should buy it for yourself, but I feel like there are other Dr. Mario games that could give you more bang for your buck. After working so hard for so long, Mario needed a break, and luckily, someone was willing to cover a shift. Releasing in 2013 in America and 2014 everywhere else, the next game in the series was Dr. Luigi. The time between February 2013 to March 2014 was dubbed the Year of Luigi, over a year-long celebration for the second Mario brother. Several games were released to celebrate the occasion. Games like Luigi's Mansion 2, or Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon if you're cool, New Super Luigi U, and Mario & Luigi Dream Team starred him. NES Remix had a minigame called Super Luigi Bros, which was a version of the original Super Mario Bros but backwards, and you play as the titular character. Super Mario 3D World hid several Luigi sprites throughout the game to celebrate the year, but the one we care about is Dr. Luigi. The puzzle series we know and love gets a new coat of paint. The modes Classic, Versus CPU, and Flash are all here. Versus mode has online play, just like Online RX. Virus Buster is back, but instead of the pointer controls, you use the gamepad's touchscreen. The big new mode is Operation L. Two pills will be stuck together in an L shape, which honestly just makes the game easier. The graphics are very similar to Online RX, but hey look! There's a new virus trio. They only show up on certain modes, but hey, they're there. We're getting to the point where these games are starting to blend together. The game is fun and Luigi stuff is nice, but I feel like this is just Online RX with a new gimmicky mode. The game was a Wii U eShop exclusive, and if you didn't already buy it, you can't play it officially. Wii, DS, Wii U, I think we know who's next. Releasing in 2015 everywhere except Korea, we got Dr. Mario Miracle Cure on the 3DS eShop. It's basically just a mix of the last three games into the ultimate Dr. Mario game. Classic mode, versus mode, endless mode, Virus Buster, Operation L, versus CPU, and online are all here and accounted for. There's a new optional addition, power-ups called Miracle Cures. If you get a certain number of clears, you'll get a Miracle Cure. I unfortunately couldn't play this game myself because I didn't download it before the 3DS eShop went down. For our final Dr. Mario game, we are not looking for a Nintendo system, but instead the App Store. Released in 2019, Dr. Mario World was a mobile game sequel to the series. So many changes were made to make the conversion to phones and tablets more approachable. Not only do pills go upward instead of down, but it also only takes 3 spaces to make a clear. If half a pill is falling, you can redirect it to land somewhere else. You can drag pills through certain obstacles. There are plenty of new things to interact with your pills, with things like Koopa shells, bombs, locks, cages, etc. There are new viruses and corresponding pill colors. There are loads of playable characters, a lot of which I doubt are certified doctors. Like, everyone jokes that Mario is a fake doctor, but I'm more worried about the dolphin. Blooper, Larry, Baby Daisy, 3 Goombas, Dry Bowser, Nabbit, and many more all apparently got their medical degrees. A lot of the common enemies are relegated to assistant roles, which are essentially badges that give certain buffs. Even Sushi was there. I would love to talk more about the app, but I can't play it. In fact, nobody can. On November 21st, 2021, the game went offline and is now unplayable completely. Look, I understand not updating the game anymore if it wasn't making money, but not destroying it forever. Just let us play the existing levels. This was my favorite Nintendo app, and now I can never play it again. I thought this was going to start a trend of Nintendo bringing over their simple puzzle games to mobile devices, but unfortunately, that was it. I still have the app downloaded. Even if I can't play it, it's a cool piece of history to have. Nobody can take it from me now. Being one of Mario's most famous side gigs, he dons his lab coat off the job often. As previously stated, Dr. Mario is a fighter in the Super Smash Bros. Series, and has his fair share of music, trophies, spirits, and even his own amiibo, unfortunately no stage of his own. Super Mario Odyssey has a Dr. Mario costume, same goes for Mario Kart Tour, and even Luigi joins in that one. His amiibo unlock costumes in Super Mario Maker and Yoshi's Woolly World. He's a skin in Minecraft on Nintendo consoles. He appears in a handful of WarioWare micro games. He got his own Game Watch, not Game and Watch, Game Watch, no ampersand. After so many years, he finally got his own plushie to go along with the release of Dr. Mario World. He got an official comic. He got his own board game with some weird green viruses. In the Super Mario Adventure comic, when he is giving a boo therapy, don't ask, he wears a similar outfit. There are challenges for the game in NES Remix 2. Dr. Mario 64 was one of the games in the Chinese exclusive IQ player system. In fact, it was the game that was pre-downloaded on every console. Dr. Mario, despite its recognizability, has had a rough couple of decades. Most of the series' games were digital storefront exclusives that died alongside their consoles, and the series' biggest success is missing forever and is quickly becoming forgotten. I'm honestly pessimistic about the future of the series. Unless we get a Nintendo Puzzle Collection 2 or something, I wouldn't hold my breath for a sequel. But on the other hand, do we really need a sequel? I'm all for more games, but Dr. Mario is a puzzle game with endless levels and endless ways to beat them. This isn't a story-driven series where we need to know what happens next, or a series with wildly changing gameplay and formulas. It's a color-matching puzzle game where the biggest thing separating the games is usually the console they're on. This isn't me picking on the series. I'm saying the core gameplay is so solid it's lasted to this day with little changes since the first game. Even if we never get a new Dr. Mario game, the series will remain relevant with its timeless replayable games, and admittedly due to its Mario connection. And who knows, maybe they'll surprise me and the series will come back full force. Perhaps it just needs some time to heal. Hey doc, do a good job. I bet my degree on this patient making it.